this Truex missing the playoffs expose just another flaw in the current system because he was sixth in points.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Ryan Blaney probably thought to himself he just had to finish the race, and then Truex had a pretty great race too. I think I now that Austin Dillon's the official winner, I think if you look at the standings, Blaney will finish third, just 3 points ahead of Truex, who finished fourth. So Truex becomes the highest overall finisher in regular season to not make the playoffs. And I think that absolutely exposes something. I think NASCAR should implement something where, like, when they first developed this, I always thought that the winner of the regular season should get a bye at least until the round of 8. I always thought that was just some silly thing I threw out. But I think if you're like top 5 in points and you don't make it, yes, you could say, well, they didn't win. Yeah, but he also had a bunch of more top 10s and top 5s than Austin Dillon and literally everyone else behind him. I think if you make the top 5, I feel like there should be something where you should at least be guaranteed kind of like the win in. Because it's unfortunate. You have cars like the 45 technically is still in the owners' playoffs in terms of. So the 45 makes the playoff, the 19 and the 12 doesn't. So Ryan Blaney, who finishes third, does not make it because there were 16 different winners. So you have the teams who are third and fourth in owners' points get bumped down to 17th and 18th because of this rule, you're winning, you're in. And there's a lot of cars who have been like Alex Bowman, very inconsistent. I don't see him going past the round of 12. I don't see Austin Dillon making it past the round of 12. But knowing now we're saying this, so Bowman will make the Final Four somehow. That's what happens when we do these things week in and week out. It's a very inconsistent system. I like it because I like to see certain drivers be able to get that shot. And I like the idea of Daytona because literally anyone can win it. I mean, Cody Ware, he wouldn't have been eligible, but he was sixth today. That would have been pretty awesome. So Blaney is lucky. I think today's word is inconsistent and luck, the two words. Inconsistent because NASCAR likes to do certain things with their system, whatever, and just luck because a lot of guys got very lucky today and just did not have to spend $4 million combined, like what Justin Marks said. But to answer your question, yeah, I think it sucks for Truex. It sucks for Toyota. But I wonder, a funny thing would be, I saw it on Twitter. I know this would never happen. But if you're competing for the owners' playoffs, wouldn't it be funny if the 19 and 45 switched? So Truex would run the 45. I know it would never happen. Obviously, Gibbs would love his grandson in the 19, don't get me wrong. But sponsors and real-life scenarios are what's keeping us from that. But yeah, sorry for that long answer, Kobe and Ben, but that's how I feel. Inconsistent and lucky was today's race.
And that's a great point that you bring up. Maybe the 45 and 19 making a driver swap based on what's going on in the owners' playoffs right now. That would be a very interesting scenario to try to give the 45 put a more experienced Cup champion in that car to compete for an owners' championship. And imagine Ryan Blaney winning the championship this year. If Blaney wins the championship, we're guaranteed to have a split drivers and owners championship. I can think of that happening a couple of times in trucks and Xfinity. I can't remember the last time we would have had that in the Cup Series. So that could be a very interesting scenario to keep your eye on, especially if Blaney goes on a Tony Stewart-esque 2011 Cup Series title run here, not winning a race in the regular season, then winning 5 or whatever it was in the postseason. That could be something to watch as well. But I think it really exposes a flaw in the system. And people that watch this channel, people that watch my channel, they know that I don't need to explain how I feel about the playoff system. But I think my bigger issue is not that for a while it looked like, and if the race had ended under the rain delay, it would have resulted in this. Ryan Blaney could finish as high as top 5 in points, enter the final race of the regular season third in points, and not have a shot for the championship. That's not even my biggest issue. My biggest issue is that Ryan Blaney, who's had a season that has him somewhere between third and sixth in points, could be locked out of the top 16 and end up with, at best, a 17th place ranking in the final standings. That's more my problem. Because the final ranking in the standings, in my opinion, should be something that is somewhat indicative of the season that you've had. If you're 10th in points, you should roughly have had the 10th best average finisher. So I know it's not going to be an exact number because of stages and bonus points and things like that. But it should be a rough indication of how your season went. And Ryan Blaney, say what you will about him having 25 chances or 26 chances to win a race or whatever to get his way into the playoffs. You cannot deny that he deserves to be higher than 17th in the points right now, based on the season that he's had. And Truex is the same way, because they were neck and neck for a while there, all the way up to the checkered flag today. They've both had seasons that are better than 17th, and yet that's where Truex is going to be locked in right now. And that's where the 12 team in the Owners' Championship is going to be locked in, despite the fact that they've had better seasons than that statistically because they have a goose egg in the win column, even though they've done everything but win a race. Ryan Blaney actually did win a race. It just doesn't count because it's the All-Star exhibition race. They're locked out of that top 16. And I think that's incredibly, incredibly unfortunate for not just Truex, but also for the Owners' Championship on the side of a 12 team, that they're locked out of that spot. So it's not just a matter of they can't compete for a championship, or they would not have been able to compete for a championship because they didn't win a race. It comes down to the rankings as well. There's more to the final point season standings than just the guy in P1. There's bonuses and incentives with sponsors and deals and everything like that. And now Truex, the best he's going to finish the 17th. I just have a massive, massive problem with that. And I don't know if the points would have swung enough in Corey LaJoie's favor, but Corey LaJoie could have easily won Atlanta. Now, the battle for him to get in the top 30 would have been very, very interesting. It would have been reminiscent of Chris Buescher in 2016 after he kind of stole one at Pocono there. But, imagine a scenario where Corey LaJoie gets into the playoffs being 30th in points, but Ryan Blaney, third in points, does not get into the postseason. If you like the postseason, if you like the playoffs, if you like the fact that the championship comes down to the final race, I respect your opinion. I get that. I get that there's an entertainment aspect of this sport as well. But I just have a very hard time seeing the legitimacy in letting, and again, no disrespect to Corey LaJoie and Spire. They're doing the best with what they can. They don't have the funding of a Penske or a top team like that. But where's the legitimacy in them taking a playoff spot away from a guy who, when you tally up the points, is in the top 5? That's what I struggle with. That's what I don't understand. And Kobe, to bring it all back, I think it absolutely exposes a flaw in the system.